The Parliamentary Budget Office is of the opinion that 2019 is panning out to be a much tougher year economically for Kenyans and states that the government is unlikely to achieve its growth target. Such are the headwinds facing the economy, according to the office, that it believes growth this year will be lower than the projected 5.6%. Alex Mwangi reports.
The 2019-2020 budget is pegged on an economic growth projection of 6.2% this year, just slightly shy of the 6.3% growth achieved last year. But according to the Parliamentary Budget Office, it is likely to be much lower on account of these factors. The PBO says that inflation is likely to go up on account of food and water scarcity occasioned by the apparent poor performance of the March to May long rain season. It further notes that the pace of implementation of infrastructure projects is too slow, putting in jeopardy the effectiveness of the Big Four agenda. Two of the Big Four's pillars, agriculture and health, are actually devolved functions of government, but there is lack of a clear collaborative framework between the national and county governments. The performance of the economy this year is likely to be adversely affected by the fact that as at the end of the third quarter of the government's current financial year, only 54% of development funds had been disbursed. This puts the government in a precarious situation, where on the one hand, revenue growth is constrained and on the other, it is sluggishly utilizing the development funds at its disposal. The PBO gives a dim forecast for growth in credit to the private sector. It states that the government's debt strategy for the next financial year is more inclined towards domestic borrowing, and as such, growth in credit to the private sector may continue to decline in 2019 from the 2.4% growth in 2018, since the government is likely to crowd out the private sector as creditors deem it as a less risky borrower. The Parliamentary Budget Office states that despite the projected 2.3% reduction in the total budget from 3.15 trillion shillings in the current financial year to 3.08 trillion shillings in the next financial year, there is concern that its actual implementation may adjust expenditure upwards. On the manufacturing front, the PBO has referred to the Purchasing Managers Index, which is an indicator of manufacturing activities in the private sector, pointing out that it has been on the decline since December 2018, indicating a slowdown in performance of activity in the sector. A weak global economic outlook also carries some risks for the Kenyan economy. The scathing assessment by the office provides a wake-up call for technocrats in government to put in place measures to address the deceleration of economic performance, or else Kenyans will encounter rougher waters financially speaking, further down the river. Alex Mwangi, NTV.